was drawn to Jesus since the first time I laid eyes on him. 3 years later, I stood by as he was crucified. My name is Nicodemus. And for the first time I heard Jesus speak was in Jerusalem. He preached with power and conviction, and his words were accompanied by the most remarkable deeds. It was as if his words came from above or something. The sick were healed, sinners came to God, and demons were cast out in his presence. He healed on the Sabbath. He did not follow our rituals or customs, and he had the irritating habit of pointing out our sins. The Sanhedrin has no sins, and being part of that group, I know, in fact, that may not always be true. He almost seemed like a rebel for new beginnings and not war, yet perhaps for these very reasons I was drawn to him. I could not let my colleagues know of my interest in this radical rebel preacher. When I finally met with him, I requested a meeting by night so that no one would see us together. It was at that meeting that he looked me in the eyes and said, "Nicodemus, you must be born again. You must be born not only of water, but of the Spirit as well." What an utterly odd thing to say, I thought. I left him that night confused, feeling like I was a scholar and a leader among the people, but after leaving him, I felt like I was a mere child in the eyes of this man. But once more, I was deeply drawn to him. The night before Jesus was crucified, the Sanhedrin had been called together for a hastily arranged meeting. When I was informed about this meeting, I was confused. I thought to myself, we don't usually meet by night. Can't this wait until morning? What is the hurry? When I arrived to Caiaphas' house, the high priest, my heart sank when Jesus was brought in by the temple guard. I'm ashamed to say that I was silent as the others called for his death. I wanted to speak up for him, but I was afraid. I knew I could lose everything if I spoke out against the high priest and the others involved in this charade. Even now, I'm embarrassed to tell you of my cowardice. That night, he was sentenced to die. And I said nothing. The next morning, as they led him to be crucified, I wanted to run and hide, yet I knew that by my silence, I had allowed this to happen. I decided that at least I could have the courage to show up and see what my silence had brought upon this innocent man. I wanted him to see in my eyes my sorrow and pain and the deep regret I felt in not speaking out for him. Why didn't I speak up? What was holding me back? The women came to him just before he was crucified. They were given permission to offer him one last drink. The Romans did not know that the women, in compassion, had laced the cup of wine with poison meant to deaden the pain and to hasten his death. He tasted it, but noting its bitterness and understanding what they were doing, he refused to drink it. I turned away as he was nailed to the cross, and then I watched in silent agony as his cross was raised. The sound of the cross dropping into the stone hole still echoes in my soul today. I listened as my fellow priest hurled insults. Still, I was silent. After some time, the soldiers mocked him, offering him wine, a kind of toast to the crucified king, saying, "Hail, the King of the Jews!" But they kept it just out of reach as he sought to drink it. Why haven't I said anything yet? Near the end of the ordeal, after he had hung there for 6 hours, he spoke again. He hadn't said a word in hours. He said, "I thirst." I could not stand it anymore. At this point, watching him die, I found some small amount of courage. I no longer cared what anyone else thought about me. I took a branch of hyssop, fastened a sponge to it, dipped it in wine, and lifted it to his lips. He drew from the sponge, and shortly after, he breathed his last. I never did say anything to him, but hopefully my actions made up for my lack of speech.